Okay, we're officially starting the Greenway Committee meeting on February 24th, 2021 at 4:07 p.m. And let me share my screen. And I will,
This is our next project?
what's this?
The
Pretty
bridge.
ambitious.
Yeah.
Are we going to build a bridge across Cayuga? It's so much easier to get to Shermansburg if we did that.
Look at the hot air balloons. That's fantastic.
That
That
was,
looks like it's in England.
I've got to move I've got to move things around here for just a second.
Here we go.
This bar that pops up from Zoom just kind of. It's big.
Ronnie, your audio is kind of breaking up, for me at least.
Is it?
It's very mute.
It's a little hard to hear.
Okay, let me try turning up my microphone. Well,
It's also not the end of the world. It's actually, we're doing fine.
I just have to, I'll just have to search for microphone. I was telling Larry that I had to take my computer in yesterday for work because all of my USB ports stopped working.
Yeah.
Okay, just a little better.
How much?
Okay, I turned up.
Okay. Hey, can I, since while Ronnie's doing that, can I ask a question? Because Simon just came in. Simon's in charge of us. Simon's in charge of our budget. So since I have an inside track, I'm just teasing. So he's line item $5,000 for us for the budget. Is that fine? That's what we've gotten every other year.
We have to discuss that at our meeting today. So by the end of this meeting, we will have a number. We'll have, okay?
All right, end of the meeting, you'll have a number. The end of the meeting, you'll have a number. Oh, I'll be right back, guys. Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. So the one thing we need to do is approve our minutes from January 27th. Did anyone have problems with those? Any suggestions? I didn't get any suggestions back. So if someone needs to move and second, I'll move and someone needs to second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Monica. All those in favor, just say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any nays?
Oh,
I
There,
abstain.
yes.
I abstain.
Oh, Jerry abstained. Okay. So, what's the Monica? What is the status of the sidewalk policy? I know that you discussed it a little bit at the planning board meeting last night. Is there any way?
Yeah, so we talked about, so there's basically two parts to the sidewalk policy. One is the actual law, and then the other one is the formation of a sidewalk district. And so when we presented it at the planning board meeting yesterday, they were together. So it was, here's the law, this is the sidewalk district. If your property falls within the sidewalk district, you need to build a sidewalk unless you get a waiver from the planning board. So there was some concern that like single family houses, I mean, people that we're really not targeting will have to do extra work and make Mike do extra work and make the planning board do extra work for like these single family houses. So we decided to separate the sidewalk district from the law and mandate that basically anything that requires a special action from the planning board, so a PDA, a subdivision, I don't even know what else, anything that's special, like they're going to be going in front of the planning board anyway. They need to build a sidewalk unless they ask and are granted a waiver. So a single family house will never come in front of the planning board unless they're in like a steep slope or doing something really special. So that'll kind of cut down on the people that really we're not targeting. So we don't have to take a planning board time giving them waivers. So we're planning on doing the sidewalk district as a separate thing, kind of like in our comprehensive plan saying, you know, this is sort of the areas we want to focus on. We want to build X number of miles of sidewalk a year. This is our goal. And then have that resolution just be that resolution for those special actions by the planning board. Does that make sense?
So there's no law, the law will not specify the district.
No, so the district will just be like an informal, basically what is currently out there from 1990 that we've never done anything about. But I'm hoping that we will start to do something about it. So.
Okay. We just need, I guess, discuss how that topic, where that topic might fall within the normal process of the planning board. Would it be during the developers conference?
Yeah, so I guess it would be part of the special permit. So basically it just tells developers have to ask for a waiver rather than us asking for a sidewalk. So usually when a developer would come in for a subdivision or something that they're building, we would say, hey, you know, this is great. We'd really love for you to put a sidewalk in on the plan. And there's no law in the book saying that they have to do that, right? So they could be like, no, we don't want to. And then we'll have to negotiate. It's just much harder for us asking for it. So this way, the developer comes in, Mike gives them a sheet of paper and what they're going to need. And part of that is, hey, we have this sidewalk law. So make sure you include a plan for a sidewalk or come up with reasons that you need a waiver, which we can deny, and then they'll have to put the sidewalk in. So that's a bit different from what is happening right now because we're just like, pretty please, can we put a sidewalk?
Right.
And it's kind of up to them to kind of do it or not.
Okay. So in this case, would the policy have to go also through the Board of Trustees?
For the, I'm sorry, the last bit?
Would it have to go through the Board of Trustees?
I guess it will just go through the course of the special permit. So does the Board of Trustees always vote on the special permits?
No, but I'm thinking that the actual sidewalk.
Oh, the actual, yeah, resolution will go to the Board of Trustees. We're just buttoning it up. I think we're going to present it at the next planning board meeting, just kind of clean it up, make sure that's ready to go, and then you guys will get it.
That sounds good. Yeah, that's great.
So there will be a law saying, how will that law, what will the law say?
So I have, Carolyn's going to clean it up. I can get a copy and I can email it out to everybody once I get it. But basically, it's a very short law. I think it's like 4 points. It's basically if you have a special action that requires approval of a planning board, and I think she's going to define special permits, PDAs, subdivisions. You will have to build a sidewalk, and then the other parts of it basically determines what the sidewalk should look like. You know, it should follow DPW guidelines or New York State guidelines, should be X amount feet wide, you know, that kind of thing. So that's the rest of the law. So basically just spelling out what we expect a sidewalk should be. And then it'd be up to the developer to figure out a space for that sidewalk, whether it's private, public, combination. Yeah.
There's just north of the village office on the left, on the west side of Trip Hammer, the woman that has that hair salon, she's got a whole bunch of property there. She's talked for a number of years about doing development. Is that something that would be within this district?
Yeah. Yep, because that would require a special action because she'd probably either build something large residential or subdivision or something that would require the planning board's approval. So yeah, so she would be, and isn't there already a sidewalk there?
There is no. Yeah.
No.
No, there isn't one. So yeah, so she would have to. And there's some places where the sidewalk already exists. And as the village continues to put in their own sidewalk, you know, a lot of this district, it might be a moot point for some developers. You know, it might be a big deal for some, it might be a moot point. And if for some reason, like let's just say developers putting a development like in the middle of Burdick Hill, right? And there's no sidewalk there now. So instead of having a sidewalk that goes nowhere, they could put money into like an escrow fund for, future development of sidewalks, either on Burdick Hill or elsewhere in the village. So at least we're getting sidewalks somewhere from them.
Mhm. Can I ask another question about, where does crosswalks fit into the discussion of sidewalks?
Yeah, so I guess, isn't that determined by the Department of Transportation, where and when sidewalks, crosswalk needs to be put in?
Yes.
So eventually, when that woman did build to do development, she would need that, put in that sidewalk, there would need to be a crosswalk across Oak Crest.
Yeah, and it also, yes, and it also depends because we don't need sidewalks on both sides of the street, right? So if she's building on a side of the street where we're not planning on putting the sidewalk, she could just put that money that she would put towards the sidewalk into the fund so we could build the sidewalk like on the other side of the street or on another road that we really need the sidewalk on. So yeah, it'll basically, once it comes before the planning board, they're going to need to put it in their plan, and then we can waive it and say, rather than you putting in this sidewalk, give us X amount of dollars to put in the fund. You don't have to put the sidewalk in, and then we'll use that money elsewhere. So
Cool, thank you.
yeah.
So speaking of the end of Oak Crest, a lot of people walk up to Oak Crest nowadays, especially. There's no easy way to get across even to the village hall.
Yep.
And to get a crosswalk there that goes not to a sidewalk, from a sidewalk to a sidewalk, there must be some issues there.
Yeah, I don't know what, but I think eventually, I think Oak Crest is it's up there on the list of, like, especially with Getzman's, that's on Oak Crest, right? He's building that. And I think the village has plans he has a sidewalk in escrow. I don't know, did he put the money in escrow? He's either going to build it or he's putting money in escrow. So there will be a sidewalk at least in front of his property, which goes up to the corner. No, it goes up to Chow, right?
It goes up the fireplace or the fire department to Chow.
Yeah, so then I guess the village, that's probably, if I were mayor, I would make that a priority and put in the sidewalk. Because then, yeah, you can cross right over to the village hall from there. So just saying.
Something cutting through behind Chow. Is there going to be the coffee shop thing on the commercial?
God, who knows? Who knows?
Because if you're walking to the Y or something on Oak Crest, everybody's cutting through behind BJ's or cutting across the hill behind Chow. If there's a business there, there should be some arrangement to have the sidewalk cut through to at least to the curbside there.
So in the initial plan, which has gone through 7,000 iterations at this point, no longer looks like the original plan. There was a walkway behind there coming over. And I think if Eric comes back to us to build a coffee shop or something low density commercial, that is something the planning board, I can't speak for everybody, but that's what I would want to see. So that's what I would ask for.
Well,
it's just a walking path. It doesn't even have to be a full sidewalk. One of those paved walking paths that we have throughout the village, I think is more than adequate because it's not along a road.
In my opinion, he's performed so poorly on the PDA. He really, that whole thing of that subdivision for the commercial, that should actually absolutely be up for discussion and possibly revoked because he's just been a lollygagger, if ever there was one.
Ronnie and Monica, what about that huge pile of dirt? What's he going to do with that dirt? It looks like the commercial property is going to be at the height of Chow. And then he's got, Ronnie and I talked about, Ronnie's pushing to keep the rest of the lot open. So there's going to be a cliff there.
Maybe it'll be a sledding hill. You can donate it as a sledding hill.
Pardon?
You can donate it as a sledding hill for the kids.
Well, it'd be great to have some kind of feature there. The problem is that the loop road has got to come right out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Larry, he will either have to move that pile as ground cover for the green space, or he will have to have it transported off site.
Or build a tunnel under it.
Yeah. Well, halfway with a tunnel.
If I were doing this, I would take all that dirt, and because if that remains green space, which hopefully it will, in the front, I would build up in front of there to give the people privacy from Oak Crest.
Build a textured hill.
Yeah.
Like they're planning to do on Grosvenor Island in New York City. Build that something that shades or screens the houses. The
Yeah,
other thing that people are going to be surprised about is how loud goddamn BJ's generators are. The people with the house right by the fire department, that if you go down there when those generators are on, you can't stand in the parking lot anymore of the fire department because it used to insulate you. It was between you and the generators, but now it bounces off those buildings right into the parking lot. You can't stand in front of the fire department anymore with that thing going.
Mm.
We've never got a response from BJ's about doing something about those damn things. They go off at 7:43 in the morning on
Very
Tuesday.
precise.
There's no, and as I've said numerous times, there's no reason that they can't test those generators anytime during the day. I talked to the technician and he said, oh, that's just a matter of programming inside the store.
right. I think that we can probably have Mike follow up with him.
It's never worked. It's never worked.
But we can start finding them.
Well, when those people about these old guys sitting in those 3 apartments across the fire department there, when that thing goes off, they're going to be shocked unless they've come and visited during Tuesday morning early at 7:43.
Larry, I remember you calling me one morning at 7:30 or something to just like scream and say, you have to come hear this. This thing it's unbelievably loud. And and you were across the street and down the road.
Yeah, yesterday, what's it? Yesterday it was awful.
Mm-hmm.
It was just awful. It depends on the wind a little bit, but they need the wall higher. They shouldn't have put that. It bounces right up against that concrete wall of the back of the building. They could put insulation on that. It's just like having a factory across the street or two diesel freight trains parked in front of your house. Essentially, that's what they are. They're just huge diesel engines. They run for 30 minutes. They have to test them every week for 30 minutes. But any time of the day or night's okay. Why at 7:43 in the morning?
Yeah, it should be early afternoon or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nobody would notice in the afternoon.
we'll work on it. I mean, we'll continue working on it, Larry.
Yeah, well, my satchel bombs didn't go off the other day, so.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. I know that Larry might have to leave a little bit early. I want to get through as much as we possibly.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So Monica, do you have any idea of where the tree ordinance is?
No, I thought you would. I mean, Simon, I guess I can ask Simon. I actually haven't talked to him about it in a while.
I think it was my understanding that it was still within the planning board for discussion, but
We have not discussed it.
I'll just say that was to be discussed.
Yeah.
Still in work. That's what I say. That's okay.
I don't think we've ever really discussed. I should probably tell Lisa to bring it up. I didn't realize it was up to us to do it. So I will email Lisa and ask her if she wants to talk about it. And I will get Simon to send me a copy of his ordinance. That's what we're talking about, right? The tree ordinance where if you cut down a tree, you got to pay or put a tree bank. Okay.
Yeah, tree bank, et cetera. Yeah, Simon's done all the work. I think we just have to have a planning board review, then a board of trustees review and approve it. And
Well, I will get on that because tree cutting season is coming upon us. So,
okay, that's fine. So the next thing I want to talk about is let my browser up, is our input into this year's budget. And this is
$1 million.
sorry?
$1 million.
Oh, yeah, we don't quite have that much. But these are the items that have come up, that have been raised by people. I've received a lot of feedback from Suzanne Weiser about Ned Hickey Park. She has all sorts of plans, but I think we're going to have to scale some of that back or make it a future project, or at least in phases. I think they're just trying to put too much in that park, and it would make the overall lawn mowing and maintenance of it a nightmare if we do too much. But we'll go through this basically, the general, it's just all flower beds. This is gonna be like a case by case basis. And friends of each part when it's formed. So I'm not gonna put a cost in. We can just absorb a little bit to begin with, and then if it gets to be fairly expensive, we can work it into the next budget. Trail signage, this is actually a future project. I was hoping I could get more information, but in order to make the signs, which are relatively small compared to our park signs, we need to identify the trails. How do we want to identify them? So we would need to come up with something. My project, something that I've been looking at is making a new trail from Northwood Road up to the East Point Apartments. We're supposed to have a walkway in the back of those apartments. The village owns some property just on the north side of Northwood, across from the park, where we could potentially put a trail in there. So that's a future project too, so we can kind of make another connecting source where there'll be more walkability. And
East Point, Ronnie, East Point is the new one on Bomax?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And they were going to, in their plans, they were going to put a walkway a trail slash walkway that comes out of the east end of the complex, kind of circles around and comes to about where the village property could join it. And if they haven't done that, then we would just plan with them to do a whole thing where they would do their part and we do ours, and it connects in the middle like the transcontinental railroad. So that's just there as a future project. So not for this year. Now, most of what I have for this year are trees. I asked John, he said it costs about $650 per tree, which includes planting them at a prevailing wage. So I'm just estimating $625 each. For Marion Hartell, I'm going to kind of leave that up to John, how many he wants to put on there for this year. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to say 7 trees at $625. If we don't spend all of that, we will have money put aside for it anyway, and it can just roll over into next year.
So when you say 625, you're having the landscape or somebody plant them guaranteed?
Yes.
And the DPW is not doing anything except watering them.
They would determine with Cayuga the best location for each tree. Now, we would want here, but Cayuga might say, well, landscape or whoever the contractor might say, well, it would be better about 10 feet this way because, but approximate. We just want to get some good trees in there to replace the ones we had to cut down in order to level off that park area. And this won't be all of the trees. We probably will do some every year for 2 or 3 years. The other thing on that park is the topsoil, having it re-topsoiled. I just forgot to ask John about how much does he think it would cost to do that. So I will contact him and find out, put some information before I give it to Simon.
Can I ask a question? What that giant mound of dirt that's in Hartell Park right now?
That's going to stay. That was we didn't put it in as a design feature, but with the soil, as they were moving in and removing topsoil, they made a hill and kids started playing on it, and kids.
I know my kids did.
So we're just going to leave it there and maintain it to the best of our ability.
Okay.
We have concerns about the surface and how, if it,
We should seed it, I think, at least. Throw some grass seed on top of it.
yeah, something that would at least keep it in a shape that, I don't know how we would mow it though, for instance.
Yeah, I guess you just don't mow it.
You just don't.
Kids run up it, yeah.
And it doesn't grow more than 2 or 3 inches tall.
Hmm.
It stays there, so it was that. Future projects, bathrooms, and the kids splash.
Yeah, those are my just like dream things. I don't really expect them to happen, but like we just throw them on there.
We'll put them in, and down the road we'll talk about them. In Desert Park, I think the only thing we need at this point are trees. And I'm looking at maybe 2 or 3 for that park. Just to kind of go in that bare space between the basketball court, the playground, and the pavilion. Just put 2 or 3 good shade trees in there, let them grow up. Global.
Yeah, I trained there in the summer, and having the trees, like if you backdrop the bench in the park and the thing, and then along the road would be nice.
Right.
But a lot of kids, we use open space
Right.
for training, and a lot of kids run around in that area. So if you turn it into a forest, it would kind of be difficult. So probably framing it would be better than
Mhm.
random.
I just wanted to add, is there any confluence of opportunity with the giant pile of dirt on the on Oak Crest and the needs for fill and landscaping at the park?
Good point.
Possibly. It just depends on what plans Eric Getson has for that area. If he's not going to use it, we can move it for him and put it on our parks if we want to help
Got it.
do whatever.
Got it. Cool. Thanks.
I don't think he's determined what he's going to do with it yet. But it's a possibility. We work with the town and the Cuyahoga Heights, actually local municipalities, who we try to find out, do they have soil available before we go buy soil? And if we get soil that we can use, we go pick it up, transport it in, and put it down. So it's cost us for transportation and moving the soil, but we don't have to pay for the soil on top of that. So we do work with them, and they work with us. They need soil or have soil. So John and DPW crew will take care of that. For Global Village Park, I know that 1 or 2 trees had to come down, so we might look at putting 1 or 2 in that park also.
The park at the village takes a village park, trees that removed were the ones that actually shaded the playground at high noon. So we should plant on the south side of the playground eventually to probably improve the shade there for kids.
To replace those, yeah. We didn't want to remove them, but they were within the danger zone as far as limbs falling on the kids or on the playground. And one of them was in a pretty serious condition. It was 2 or 3 years anyway, so we had to remove them. So we need to replace those. For Shannon Park, I have not really looked at the playground equipment for small footprint. I think there'd be room depending on what we want to put there, either playground equipment or exercise equipment for adults. So those are components, so you can kind of mix components for the exercise area. That's what we want. But we really have to determine what works.
It feels to me like Shannon Park just needs to kind of simmer for a little bit and let people just kind of enjoy it the way it is, and like really like go slow on doing any kind of infrastructure installation stuff, because it's just, I think maybe trees are fine, but it's such a lovely open space, and lots of people have ideas, but it is just delightful to go sit on that bench, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I remember, I think Jerry probably brought this up, that some people were saying, you're going to put equipment in there, the kids go up and kick balls around and stuff. They don't want something in that square
Exactly.
space.
Yeah.
They wanted it open.
The more you can keep it as a multi-use space, I would say that's the better. But maybe add some trees. But for the most part, it is just really, though that work that you guys did was inspired to just take out all that scrub, and it really looks amazing.
Good. So there are other things there that I'll just put. We won't put any amenities in except maybe trees, maybe some landscaping additions to that. So
Perfect. Just
go
go slow.
Also, I mentioned the back cut through, the diagonal cut through, that one nice tree that hides that path should be trimmed up so that people can actually see the path and walk under it. That would make it a lot easier, or a lot more functional for the path.
That's probably going to be once the winter work is over with plowing roads, they'll start on spring trimming. and that's when that would be done.
Yeah, it's a nice tree. I think it's even a flowering tree. Do you remember, Jerry? Is that where the diagonal path cuts across and comes out onto, what's another street, not Shannon Park, the other street, Westgate or wherever it is?
So there's a whole bunch of catalpas along there.
There's
And
one
I'm not,
smaller tree that's right in the middle of the path. When you
oh,
walk through, you want to come out to the street.
I'm
And
not sure if it's a
tree right-
viburnum. I doubt it's a dogwood. It might be a viburnum. It's just a small little flowering tree. Yeah, they're not, yeah, I'm not sure. Whatever it is, it grew there by itself.
Yeah, I think it's nice to keep it. It's just that you can't see the path because you hit your face if you walk through.
Okay. All right. I've got an additional bench for Shannon Park. I know that we have one there, but we might could use another one. What do you think, Jerry?
I would love to see another, like, remember there used to be a bench down by that little pond?
Right.
So another bench on the other, like that would be a great spot for another bench.
Okay. I will put it in the budget. It might be cut back, but we'll at least ask for it.
It might take 2 years, it might take 3.
We'll see. Ned Hickey Park, this is the one that Suzanne Weiser was working on. She wants to help, she wants to contribute to a tree and a plaque for Donna McPherson, which is her mother-in-law. And, oh, mother.
I have you sent around her letter. I think she has this fantasy about turning it into a little venue, like a Disneyland park or something. I don't understand, like a bridge to nowhere and a fake river. And the first input we got from Ned Hickey Park were local people there at the Janivar place saying, we use that for the neighborhood picnic and we need an open space.
Right.
And so don't put anything in the middle of it because we have this big party once a year.
Right.
And now this woman sounds like she wants to turn it. If you walk through there, the path that goes up between the two roads already has a bridge and a rocky stream, and they have all those features already.
Right.
And the destination basically is the Ned Park.
Right. But it's not very big. There's not much we can really do.
Yeah, and I think she's got some fantasies that a little bit too much.
I sent her an email a couple of days ago and said we need to really be careful with not doing too much in that park because our DPW crew has to maintain the ground.
Yeah.
And they have to have room to maneuver their mowers and so forth. And we can't have all sorts of obstructions. Otherwise they'll be in there, with hand shears and clearing off the ground. So
Yeah.
I
So some input from the neighborhood about where a pavilion, we talked about a pavilion, something like at the Danker Park, where they might do that. People who've been putting on these neighborhood parties probably know how they lay it out.
right. Where would they like it? And
Yeah, where would they like it?
I
That would be a more practical way to approach it for now.
agree. It would leave a good chunk of space open, and then they would have a covered area with picnic too. So I think that the pavilion that we built on Marion Hotel was $10,000. That was done by the town of Lansing crew. So I put 7K to 10K for that. So it just depends upon the size.
I think it's half of the size of the one of Hartselle Park would be more than adequate. I don't really see.
But
And I like the idea because there's a lot of families in that neighborhood and I can see birthday parties
Yeah.
and things like that out there.
I think a pavilion would be nice with picnic tables, and then maybe a couple of benches or something. But I think to start, we might try to get the pavilion, and I think that would be the best start, and then we could work on a bench maybe. So I will include those in the cost. The walkway with educational markers, I just don't know. There's not going to be much room for a walkway. And the shrubs and flowers, I asked her to identify potential friends of Magic Park because that type of thing we typically landscaping company to take care of too if we need it, but I want there to be enough interest in landscaping where we at least have some local uh, residents who will go into the park once a week or something and tell us if there's anything that needs to be done before we start landscaping.
Is, I don't know this woman, Suzanne, what's her name? McPherson?
Wisely, John Wisely's wife.
I don't know. Is she a member of the neighborhood association or anything for Lansing Trails?
I'm not sure if she is. I think she's aware of it because she mentioned Roy Hogben, and I think that he handles the listserv for that group. But I did ask her to try, kind of poll people and see if they would be interested in something like that, and she would be interested in leading it, because she's shown interest in doing all this with the park.
Mhm.
So I'll wait to hear back. For the Black Tin Overlook, this is kind of the tail end of the want. It's basically, I need to see if there's a bench out there. I thought there was a foundation put down for a bench, but we ran out of benches.
I don't think there's a bench there. You're talking about that, like, kind of like you go down Black Chin and there's just like this open space and there's like a pond.
Yes. Well, it's kind of a point of land that's above the lake, and you can look out over the lake from it.
Can you
There's
see
no-
the lake? Maybe I'm thinking somewhere else.
Yeah.
There's
yeah,
no bench. Last fall, the foundation was put in.
Okay.
I think only one, and there's no bench
Right.
after last winter.
Had planned to use one of the benches from Marion Marquette Park, but John decided to put them all in the park. So we would just need a bench for that platform. And maybe some more trees on that. We don't want to block the view, but we could put some over by the road potentially. So
I don't think I've ever been there. Is there a parking area there? Is that
Yeah.
what we're talking?
Yes, along Black Tin is a loop that goes off.
Yeah.
and
And there's a parking area, and then you can walk down through the
Yeah.
NICEAG,
It's
by the
illegal
NICEAG
to
power
walk.
station.
You're not supposed to walk down, but
Oh.
everybody does, and everybody swims down there.
Yeah, because I have walked down there with my kids. I'm like, sure, yeah, is this recorded?
not-
People gonna see this? I have not done anything illegal.
It's not really illegal, I guess, except across the railroad tracks.
Yeah,
The rest of
but
it,
no, but that's the point is talking about that grassy knoll right in
Yes.
front of the parking lot. That's
Right.
that point.
That's-
Okay.
right.
Yeah, there's definitely no bench last year.
no,
Okay.
it's not there. The cement is there. That's,
Okay, so what I will do now is tonight or tomorrow morning, I will add up all of these and kind of do a line item for number of trees and for the pavilion, et cetera. And I will give that to Simon. So once I do, I'll copy everyone on the Greenway committee too. And I think we're gonna be overreaching for what we want, but you know, we can always come off of that a little. But
I can sweet talk the budget guy.
Simon and I are gonna have to be talking to the rest of the trustees anyway to get things done. So, but yeah, just let Simon know that I'm working on the numbers. The one question I had was the one for the replacing or retopping the soil and Marion. I'll try to get information from John. So I might just I might have something in a prior budget that gave me an idea of how much it cost the first time. I'll search for that too, but I'll give Simon something late tonight or early tomorrow morning.
Okay, I'll tell him.
Okay. It's not going to be 5,000. It's going to be north of that because of all the trees. So, you know, he just wants a number. The trustees have to say yay or nay, but we'll give him a number.
Okay.
All right. So we got that discussed. Go back to the agenda. Yeah, the next one is just the tasks we have for updating the.
I had a question about that because I was looking at the document and I didn't really understand what you wanted. Like, because there were some areas I was like, yeah, I could do that, but then I really wasn't. So you wanted to go through the Greenway plan and make the changes? Is that?
Right. If you go, the blue items, you're seeing my screen, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the blue items are basically a making credit. And within that section, roughly, it goes from the beginning of the document to the end. Uh, there are notes within that document that I shared, and these are just to track those notes. So let me go to that. So I can kind of show you what I mean. Where does the document go?
Oh, just as a side, as you're opening this up, there is a Town of Lansing rec, like town meeting or like open house where they're going to be discussing trails, parks, and things like that tonight. I think it's 6 or 7. So I will be going to that, and then if they let me talk, I will bring up maybe linking up the village trails to the town trails that eventually show up.
Right.
If they do, so.
Is that tonight, Monica? Is that-
Yeah, it's tonight. Yeah.
I'm on that committee, and I haven't brought up the connecting trail yet, because I'm just focused on inside the town. Sometime when they're ready and they're ready, we'll work together on a connecting trail. But you can mention that also.
Yeah. I think they're just looking for ideas, because I really think there needs to be a trail linking the baseball fields to the elementary school too, safe walking back for kids, because that road is crazy, but.
I might have shared that on OneDrive. That kind of stuff. There it is. I believe I sent you all a link to this document.
Could you resend it? Because, like, just because I have a fresh link, because.
Yeah, you'll see.
Okay.
There'll be a note here.
Okay.
And
You just,
yeah, I will resend this link. And just if you get into this and the note that pops up around the change, then it's not the right document either.
it'll note that I made a change, right? So like, if you hate it, you can yell at me, kind of thing.
I'm not sure this is the right document. Take this far from June because it's exactly where you need to control everything. Hide it. To change the icon. Okay. Yeah, this is the one. I'm sorry. I just opened the wrong document. If you go into this, you will see a note. Let me make it larger.
Oh, you got a magnifying glass at the bottom, Ronnie. See it? By the page number, there's a plus magnifying glass.
Oh, I'm not seeing it because of the Zoom bar, probably. There, okay, thank you. It was hiding behind me.
No, but the other one on the left will increase it.
Oh, I see. This one. Okay, so what you'll see in this document, and I'll send the link again, is you'll see the area where I took a note. And when I printed this as a PDF, the notes for that are on the next page. This one note, it might be a very cryptic note. We were typing it pretty fast. For this case, the update introduction, we will do that at the end once we've made all the other changes. So as you're going through, and if you're working on one of these within like in the additional Greenway related definitions, you'll see notes.
So you want us to actually make the changes in the document then from the notes?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And if you've got a question, if there's not enough information for the document to be changed, then you can just put a note in this that says, you know, not enough information, need better explanation or something or whatever you want to do here. So there are 3 documents you'll have to be using. The one that shows the notes, the other that shows the document with changes, which is the other one, the first one that I opened in Word. So I think what I did is I shared this folder and turned on tracking changes. Word document.
I'm going to see if I have it on my
Okay.
account already.
Ronnie, you said there are 3 versions we need.
Well, you'll need 2 documents open.
These we're seeing now.
The tracking sheet that shows what you're doing. The PDF that's got the notes markup at the behind each or at the underneath each page or in the following page that it created that I'm showing you here. That's to let you know you're in. This is just our notes. There's nothing, you can't edit this document. And the other would be the Word document, which is where the changes are actually happening.
Yeah, so I have the update task, but then I do not have the actual document. So yeah, if you could share that, that would be great.
Anyone with the link can edit. I'm copying that link and I will send it out to you now.
Thank you.
Send it to everyone?
Yeah, I just gonna send it to the Greenway.
Okay.
Committee. Jerry, I'll copy you. You're not required to do the work, obviously. You're welcome to, but not required, but I'm just including you.
It's okay. You know, I actually wanted to, I need to, would you be kind enough to amend the record? Because earlier I voted, I'm not actually a voting member of the committee.
Well,
So you need to,
you abstain.
what's that?
You abstain.
I abstained, but I'm just letting you know that I forgot that it was a momentary
Yeah,
lapse,
that's fine.
but I'm not a voting member. That's fine. I'm not worried about it either.
Okay.
Thank you.
so that it will not copyright. Try it again. So basically, just go through and determine which notes you can work with and change within the document. Make the changes in the document with make sure the revisions or the changes are being tracked. And then once you've done the change, just go into that Google sheet and mark, just select your last name and then what progress, change made or need more info. There's several, I think it's a pull down. Let me see here. So there's a list.
Oh, excuse me.
List for status, and then usually it's text. But if it's something else, like we have to have a website link or something, or something be done on the website, just select it. Just change this as you work through it. I've done several. I've gone through one pass. I'm going to go back through it. And I will just be, I think that multiple people can be working on this sheet at the same time. And we will, I'll go through it and make some more changes too. I just did a quick pass of things that I knew about and could understand quickly. And I want to go back through again and do it. Once we finish, some of these might be held off to the end, for instance, the introduction. And I will do that, but I won't write anything until we finish all the changes, so that, because those will help guide what we say. Anyway, if you would just, between now and the next meeting, I would like to have all of these taken care of, except for the ones with questions. I guess if there's a question that we can share, you can ask the question by email if you want, but at least make a note that you've asked the question and what the question was. Just in case someone else can come along and pick it up and go forward with it and change the steps too. And we can just get working. I'd like to have everything taken care of by our next meeting in March, which will be
24.
yeah, just, well,
24.
we could actually, it could be the 4th, we could make it on the 31st if we wanted to. It's on 24th, let's go to 24th. And our goal is to have all of these changes made on the 24th, and we can go through it or answer questions and get them finalized, and then start working the final version. So.
I just bookmarked it.
And you know, if we have to delay, we will. But I set a deadline and work toward a deadline that comes to that. Or we'll just keep postponing the way things are going. I think that is all we have for today. So, unless someone has another topic.
Roddy, could I just ask you, so I would probably, so if there are things that I have in my mind that I would love to see maybe get onto the agenda of the Greenway Committee in the future, should I maybe just email you with them as just suggestions or just mail them to the committee? Is that
Either or. I
okay?
mean, if you want to mail it to the committee, that would be good, because I might get it.
Okay. So for example, like the mall has actually started paying attention to their half of the mall path. They've actually been maintaining it, and that's a wonderful development. But then the village has kind of become, they're not really, you know, they didn't bother to do their half because what mall wasn't doing. So
Okay.
things like that, and then just general questions, ideas that I have. What would I just email them to you?
Yes. And
Awesome.
that particular topic would probably just need to come up at the staff and trustees meeting on Thursdays at noon, and just
Okay,
since
great.
mall has started picking up maintenance on their part of the trail, we need to carry through with ours. And at least let
You know, I think 30 to 60 people a day use that trail to get up there to the mall and to get to Tops. There are homeless people that depend on that to get to their groceries. And it's amazing. So it's really, really, you know, it's not insignificant. So thank you.
I'll just make a note here.
Thank you.
Jerry, has you mentioned, I think in the past, there was some incidents of misuse of that path? Nothing significant?
What's interesting to me, I literally see people, there's a guy that I know that sleeps down in Stewart Park. And he comes through my neighborhood every day. He's got a bag on his front and another bag on his back, and he's carrying bags of cans and bottles to take up to Tops to get enough money to buy some food and to use the bathroom to clean himself. And like that guy, really, that trail is part of his lifeline. And it's really, really interesting to me that I think for some reason the mall it's occurred to them, yeah, it'll take us 10 minutes to clean this trail and put some salt on it. And now there's 30 to 60 people that can actually get to work and get their groceries and get to their basic, human needs. So that's amazing. So it's not an insignificant trail.
I just want to make a correction. The Lansing town meeting is tomorrow, 6 to 8. So there's still time if you want to come. Not today. I just checked my calendar, which is good because I would have been the only one there.
What time is it?
Tomorrow, 6 to 8 p.m. I think you have to email the Parks and Rec department if you want the link. If you go on the website.
Yeah.
This is public input, what people would like to see related to parks and trails in the town. So if you've got any ideas or questions or concerns about things, this is a chance to input. The team that's the outside team that is helping the town plan these changes is very professional. They're very good about collecting information, listening to the information, just kind of going through it, and then determining what they how can you get the lowest hanging fruit and get the biggest bang out of the smallest spot. So that's kind of what they're doing, getting all sorts of input from the town representatives, and now they're going to the community and making sure that the community is heard too about what they want to see in the park. It doesn't affect the village so much, except for the people in the village who go to the town park. But eventually, we will also be working on an adjoining trail. It's a matter of what's the path and how will we get easements for a significant chunk of it. So that's going to be a problem, but it's something we'll work out in the future. It's a long-term plan, and this committee will get involved with that decision too, about what we want to do. So yeah, thank you, Mo, for bringing that up. Okay, if there's nothing else, I guess we can adjourn for next month's meeting and just continue working on the plans. And I will put together the budget numbers for Simon tonight.
All right, I'll do my homework and I'll email Lisa about the tree ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Say hi to Simon.
Good night, everybody.
I will.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Bye-bye. So the meeting ended at the meeting ended at 5:06 p.m.